What's up, guys? Mitchell Watts with Town & Country TV, and today I'm excited because we're actually at the Atlanta Motor Speedway and we're here for a Ford event. And it's actually an electrification event. So we just got through making a very quick and brief video walking around the Ford F-150 Lightning, the Pro Series. So if you haven't had a chance to see that video, make sure to check that out. But today we wanted to talk a little bit about the Transit E Series. The E-Transit is what Ford is calling it. So this is an all-electric Ford Transit van. Now this particular one is a Cutaway. We're going to cover that here in just a second. But in this video, we're going to cover this very early pre-production model, showcase a little bit about the electrification of the new Ford Transit, and then we might even have a chance to take a look at the Transit that's behind it, which is a little bit later of a pre-production model. So this is the 2022 model, and the first thing that we'll do is we'll go ahead and start with the front of the vehicle. So you've got your Ford logo, and check this out. The charging door for the vehicle itself is actually located up here up front. So how freaking cool is that? And as you can see, it's got the ability to do the DC fast charging if that is something that you're interested in as well. So once again, if something in this particular vehicle doesn't look right or doesn't sit right or doesn't function right, there's a reason for that. It's because it's a very early pre-production model. So anyways, let's do this. Let me see if I can actually pop the hood, because I've not seen under here just yet. And hopefully Ford doesn't kick me out of here once they see me crawling in and around their vehicle, because this is one of those we're asking for forgiveness and not permission kind of a thing. Oh no, that's so cool. All right, so take a look at this. So underneath the hood of this particular vehicle, there is no motor. You have electric motors, not an engine. You don't have an internal combustion engine, rather. I'm so used to, we've been doing cars with internal combustion engines my entire life, and now we're kind of moving into the electrification side of things. But as you can see under here, you've got a couple of different things. I'm not an electrician, but this is going to obviously be the components for that electric vehicle itself. Now I'm going to show you a couple of other components here, but I think it's interesting to see this because I have not seen really any information prior to coming to this event about the Ford E-Transit. And so I'm just kind of excited to explore this with you guys, just as you guys are. Now, there's a couple of things we're going to cover that fleet management wise is absolutely epic that Ford has given us on this particular vehicle. Now, let's come around to the side. I'm going to show you guys a couple different things. This is the Transit Cutaway. So what the Cutaway means is that instead of having a full van with a Ford body all the way back, they cut it away right here and allow for the custom modification of the bed of the vehicle or the back of the vehicle itself. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and hop inside. I'm going to show you a couple of really cool things about this vehicle. Because this is a Cutaway, you pretty much can have any adjustable height as far as an aftermarket bed is concerned. I'm 6'3" and I've got plenty of room in the back of this thing. It is a little bit hollow because, you know, so if the microphone sounds a little weird, I apologize about that. But I want to showcase to you, we talked about Cutaway. The beautiful thing about a Cutaway is you have access to the cab of the vehicle. And so if I wanted to, I could just literally walk over here, sit down, and absolutely get to work as far as driving the vehicle is concerned. We're going to come back to the interior here in just a second, but I want to point out a couple of different things here. So down here, you can actually see the battery pack. This is obviously a dedicated display for Ford Motor Company to show you what the E-Transit is all about. But what you're looking at there are going to be the battery pack for this particular vehicle. And located here is going to be the electric motor for the rear-wheel drive unit. So I think it's pretty cool that Ford has given us this Cutaway. And as you can see, you've got your wheel humps or your tire humps right here to make sure you have plenty of clearance for the tires itself. So it's pretty cool. I just wanted to kind of showcase to you these motors and then the battery pack. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the driver's seat and also the passenger seat. So I'm going to go ahead and just slide up here and just kind of sit down. Once again, I'm kind of a tall person, so it's a little bit awkward, but I can very easily sit down, and then I've got access to the vehicle. Now, they took the keys out. I guess they don't trust me. But I do want to showcase a couple of different things to you. Obviously, you've got your rotary dial, so this is pretty cool. Ford has gotten rid of the normal center console shifter they used to have here that would take out some space in the dashboard. Now you've got this. It's also a safety feature. I've got my reasons for it, but trust me, it's nice that if the driver is in a hurry and he goes back there to check on his cargo, forgets to put it in park, the system will do it for him. So it's a pretty epic little feature there. You also have your massive 12-inch touchscreen. Because this is an electric vehicle, you need the ability to access more things right there on the screen, but you still have some dedicated buttons located down here. Once again, this is an extremely early pre-production vehicle. In fact, this is not ever going to make it to production itself. As you can see, hey, there is no airbags. This vehicle is not intended to ever be driven. As you can see, you've even got your emergency shut off in case of, you know, fire or something doesn't work right. You've got that emergency shut off. So everything else looks very similar other than what I just kind of called out to you, which is good. It's one of those things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of a thing. So props to Ford on that. So I guess let's do this. Let's take a quick test drive in this. They're giving some test drives in the new E-Transit, so let's go check it out.
All right, so we are in a very early pre-production E-Transit 350 here. This is the low roof height, regular length fan that we're in. So I'm gonna turn it on here.
That's still weird. I mean, I'm used to electric vehicles, but right. Yeah, it's strange in a Transit.
It's a little different. So this is the rotary shift here. You can see they've opened this up, so no more manual shift here. Well, not manual shift, but the gear shift they've replaced with the rotary dial here. So opened up this leg room, which I definitely appreciate having a little bit of extra leg room.
Absolutely. And the bigger screen I see too.
Yep.
Awesome.
Screen set up. So we're gonna get rolling here.
Okay.
So initially what we're going to be looking at is in-vehicle coaching. So basically it's going to be talking to us about our driving, aggressive acceleration, aggressive braking. We'll be getting alerts for both of those.
Okay.
So I'm going to be pulling off the course here so we can get lined up for a straight line run.
I like it.
And we're going to do the aggressive acceleration first and be listening for the alert when it comes on. Accelerating.
Please avoid rapid acceleration when possible. Accelerating slowly is more fuel efficient.
Wow. So just trying to get us to drive a little bit more efficiently. We're going to get on the brakes here fairly hard.
Unless in an emergency, please try to avoid sudden braking events. Looking ahead and braking early can help.
And I'm assuming that's something you can turn off if you've got an experienced electric vehicle driver, right?
So the driver can either drive more responsibly and not have to hear those alerts, or fleet manager can turn those on or off, you know, as needed,
awesome.
You know, as they see fit. And this does actually handle really well. Independent rear suspension setup.
Okay.
Which also helps with ride comfort when you're at max payload too. Mm-hmm. Battery being low, mounted underneath the cargo floor, does help with the center of gravity, keeping that low. So that does help with the handling as well.
Okay.
And as you can see, we have a target ahead of us here. We're going to line up on this and we're going to head toward the target. I'm going to shoot for about 18, 20 miles an hour here.
Okay.
And we're going to run at the target. We're going to get an alert.
Okay.
And we're going to let the system do the work for us here. It's going to apply the brakes and bring us to a stop before we.
So that's the story. But I was watching. So this you'll see. There's what we call a geofence around the seat belt. This particular.
Well, as you saw, some pretty cool technology at work in the new E-Transit. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this E-Transit and see some of the similarities and also differences, since that one is not a Cutaway. Let's go take a look. As you can tell from compared to the previous E-Transit, this has got the normal Ford body on the back of the vehicle. Now they do have different roof lines available, just like they do the normal Transit, but it's pretty interesting to see. Now, as far as the E-Transit, Ford wants you to know that it is an all-electric vehicle. They could not have put a much bigger badge on the back of the vehicle, but nonetheless, you can probably take that off if that's something you want to do. So now, just like the previous Transit, you have the door that opens up to this particular opening right here, but if you hit this little unlock button, you can actually swing it all the way open to here. That is a fantastic piece of ingenuity that is actually carried over from the previous Transit as well. And also know that both sides do that. They come and stop straight out, and they also go out to this particular setup right here. Now, a couple of other things you want to notice as far as the inside of the vehicle. This is going to be aftermarket. So these are kind of like your racks and your bins and your shelves and things like that you can upfit normal Transits with. Well, the same functionality comes right into the E-Transit as well. Nothing is really compromised. And that's what I like about this electric vehicle. She's not really really compromising anything to get that electrification. And guess what? If you say, you know what, electric is not for me, they still have the normal Transit. And you're really not going to know much of a difference except for that massive logo on the back. But I want to showcase this to you. You guys, obviously, you've got your 2 household outlet plugs located in the back. You've got your breaker where if you do exceed the capacity of the electrification, you can just hit that and then keep moving on. But as you can see, it can power things like your tools. You can power air compressors located up front. There's a lot of functionality. And as you can see, this is a normal height for a normal Transit, and you're not really sacrificing anything. Now you just have range of electrification instead of range of gas. And so if you drive a certain number of miles every single day, this might be the right option for you. It's a pretty sweet little setup. Now I will tell you, and I'm going to refer to my notes because I've got quite a few different things that you want to know as far as a fleet, but when you buy one of these things on fleet, or even if you buy the F-150 on fleet, there's quite a few things that you can get as a fleet customer. And so if you're an employee of one of these vehicles, you might not like it, but if you if you are the fleet manager, you're going to love this. So when you buy one of these E-Transits or the new F-150 Lightning, you actually get a dashboard to see how much energy has been consumed on each one of your vehicles. And they will showcase to you exactly how much fuel you're saving in comparison to the normal electrification version. So I think that is a pretty sweet setup. Now, here's the other cool part is you can actually see the driving habits of each and every individual employee. So speaking of, if you can see what their acceleration is, how are they braking, meaning are they slamming on the brake, are they slamming on the gas, are they racing people, are they turning it too hard? All of that information is located right there inside of that dashboard. So I think that's pretty cool that Ford gives you that ability to manage your fleet and make sure people are not abusing your vehicles. Now, in addition to that, you can even set speed limits. So if you say, hey, I don't want anybody in my fleet going over 65 miles an hour, you can set that as a speed limit, and it will notify you every time that person exceeds that speed limit, or you can just look at it at a monthly report at the end of the month. I think that's pretty sweet. Now, in addition to that, you also happen to see when and how often they're not wearing their seatbelt. So if you're concerned about safety, that's another great thing. And also you can see if, let's say Johnny is not supposed to be driving this vehicle to his house, you know, after the job site, and he said, you know what? I just got off the job. I'm just going to go stop by the bar and I'm going to drive this thing after hours. Well, you can also get notified as the fleet manager if he's taking this vehicle after hours. So I think that's a pretty sweet setup. Now, one of my favorite and last things is okay, so, well, let's say my employee is supposed to take the vehicle home every night because it's not feasible for him to take it back to the main place every single time. Well, you can actually set up the charging for the employee at their home, and the vehicle can tell how much energy has been consumed to charge the vehicle at that employee's home. And then at the end of the month, you can actually download an Excel spreadsheet so that way you can easily and identifiably refund that employee for the energy consumed for charging at his house. I think that is fantastic technology at work. So there you go. That is kind of our little look at the new Ford E-Transit. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you're feeling like being awesome, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. If you're new around here, consider subscribing to the channel with that bell notification turned on so you don't miss a single video. Peace.